"Sir, please, you can't stand here. You're scaring away customers." The young hostess's voice cracked as she tried to block the entrance of the warm, glowing restaurant. Outside, in the freezing snow, stood an old man with a frost-covered beard, his coat threadbare, his eyes pleading. The evening rush bustled behind her, laughter and the clinking of glasses filling the air. But no one wanted to look at him, except one man. The restaurant owner, Daniel, pushed through the door in his white chef's coat. His staff expected him to shoo the old man away, maybe even call security. Instead, he surprised them. "Are you hungry?" Daniel asked, his voice calm but firm. The old man hesitated, as if the question was a trick. I haven't eaten in 2 days," he whispered, his breath a cloud in the icy night. Murmurs erupted from customers inside, some shaking their heads, others rolling their eyes. "Don't let him in. He'll stink up the place," one man scoffed. "Just give him a few coins and send him away," muttered another. But Daniel ignored them. He opened the door wider and gestured for the old man to come in. "Then tonight, you're eating here." The old man's name was Henry. As he stepped into the golden warmth, heads turned, forks froze mid-air. The smell of roasted lamb and garlic butter swirled through the air as Henry was guided to a table. Some diners whispered in disapproval, others snapped photos, half mocking, half curious. Daniel placed a hand on Henry's shoulder. "Tonight you're my guest." Plates soon arrived, steaming soup, fresh bread, a perfectly roasted meal. Henry's hands trembled as he ate, tears mixing with the broth. For a moment, the restaurant grew silent, as if the sight of pure gratitude had hushed every complaint. Yet still, some muttered, "This is ridiculous. Feeding a beggar in fine dining." Daniel sat across from Henry and finally asked, "What's your story?" And so the backstory poured out. Henry had once been a carpenter, a proud man who built homes with his bare hands. He had a wife, children, a steady life. But tragedy struck. His wife passed away, his health declined, and slowly everything unraveled. Medical bills, lost work, estrangement from his children. One winter, he lost his home. Since then, the streets had been his only shelter. As Henry spoke, Daniel's heart clenched. He remembered his own father, a man who had struggled for years to open their first family restaurant. He too had known hunger, desperation, and humiliation. "If someone hadn't helped us," Daniel thought, "I wouldn't be here today." But then something shocking happened. Henry pulled out a faded, crumpled envelope from his pocket. Inside was a letter, an old blueprint of a building, scribbled with notes in pencil. "I don't have much," Henry said, "but I once drew up plans for a community shelter. I dreamed of a place where no one would be turned away hungry. I never had the money to build it." Daniel stared at the sketch, stunned. The shaky lines told the story of a man who once dreamed big, a man who still carried hope even while the world had abandoned him. The next morning, Daniel couldn't shake the image of Henry's blueprint. Something inside him shifted. He announced to his staff, "From now on, this restaurant will feed anyone who's hungry, whether they can pay or not." Gasps echoed through the kitchen. Some thought he was crazy, that he'd ruin the business. But Daniel stood firm. "This isn't just about food. It's about dignity." Word spread quickly. At first, customers were divided. Some stopped coming, unwilling to share their dining space with the homeless, but others began flocking in, touched by the story. Media outlets covered it, and soon donations poured in. What had started as one meal for one man became a movement. Weeks later, Henry returned, cleaner, healthier, walking with a renewed sense of pride. He carried the blueprint again, but this time Daniel took it from him with determination. "We're going to build this," he said, and with community support, the shelter dream slowly became reality. But the twist. When the shelter finally opened, a man in a suit approached Daniel with tears in his eyes. He revealed himself as Henry's estranged son. "For years I thought my father was gone. But you gave him back to me," he said, embracing Henry at the doorway of the shelter. The crowd erupted in applause, and even the harshest critics had nothing left to say. Daniel realized then that one simple act of kindness had rippled into countless lives, reuniting a family, creating a sanctuary, and inspiring others to see beyond appearances. And the morale, Sometimes the person you're most tempted to turn away is the one holding the key to a greater purpose. Compassion costs nothing, but it can change everything. The restaurant that once feared losing business became a symbol of hope, a place where humanity was served alongside every plate. And Henry, once invisible, now stood at the heart of it all, not as a beggar, but as the man whose forgotten dream lit a fire in everyone else. So the next time you see someone in need, remember this story. Because one meal, one moment of kindness can truly change a life. And maybe even the world. If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a karma in the comments below.